right now we are in Costa Rica. After so many thoughts ahead about it and thinking about our dream, unleashing of potential, it has finally started. And just for everyone that is new, what it is about is we truly want to find ways how we can truly unleash the potential in all of us. And our way of doing that is through creating workshops, experiences, retreats all over the world to give people the right tools to put this into action. And right now we're living it, because the only way to truly be giving these type of experiences or workshops is by living it ourselves.
Before we got here, a lot of things happened still in the last weeks, and we want to give you an update on that as well. Because part of doing what you want to do in life, part of chasing the dream, often also requires a lot of letting go.
When you put that deadline, like, oh, we're leaving, suddenly all these beautiful connections that you made come out even more, because people come to say like a last time goodbye, and there's so many beautiful things friends of us did before we left. It's so powerful to have that, and at the same time it's like even harder to leave because of that. But I'm so grateful to have had that feeling.
Yeah, so thank you everyone who we've connected with in the past years too, and for all the support. We really appreciate it.
So we went from like moving from our place, then packed it all up into a suitcase, which is even harder because you go from this whole apartment into boxes and then break it down to 20 kilos of stuff that you can take for this tour. It's an act of minimalism, but then it works.
And after a travel of about 24 hours, we got to Costa Rica 4:30 in the morning. One of the biggest things we noticed, like we walked out of the airport at 5:30 and it was bright light. So it was wonderful to start today. This day starts early here. And so we had a really long day ahead of us. We met our main contact people here, which are Marcella and Stacy. Beautiful, wonderful people who took us into their home and showed us around in a school that they built that we will for sure talk about later on as well. And then actually a little later, Marcella drove us out to Jaco, which is at the beach, where we spent our first day with Dave.
We were so lucky meeting him. He started his own organization, Karma Tribe, that is all about spreading generosity. So it was great to have conversations with him about all of that, but even more to just see how open he was to just welcome us into his home and share the surrounding with him. We couldn't have imagined better first couple of days to kind of settle in. I think that's the beauty about starting to travel, is that you start meeting people along the way that are pushing you in the right direction. Like on the plane, I was sitting next to a guy who immediately, like, we started talking about unleashing of potential, and he was inviting us already within Costa Rica, like, oh, why don't you come over here? Then we met another family. By coincidence, they lived in Canada, and we've been thinking about going to Canada. So suddenly it was like, wow, like, what a beautiful coincidence that we meet them along the way.
And they also both turned out to be coaches. So it's fascinating that almost anyone that we've met so far is living an entrepreneurial lifestyle, is living in a way that is very much an inspiration for us and that we can learn from. So even as we just began, we've already met great teachers along the way, and it just goes to show that when you dare to let go and just go for it, that really great things can come. And so we've been surprised and just really grateful for everyone we've already met to this point.
Yeah. So beautiful first couple of days, but then the other side of the coin, the reality is also that suddenly, like, we arrive in this completely strange environment, and suddenly this thought is there, like, okay, should it all like feel right from the start? And there's this anxiousness of like, oh, but then at the same time, that's part of it. And deep down within, I know, like, I need to take this step by step, and slowly but surely we will discover what comes our way. But it is scary, without a doubt. There are those moments of like, oh, and then we look at each other and we're like, oh, like, is this is this it? Like, are we going? But deep down within, because we've set this beautiful bigger goal of unleashing of potential, I do feel like I believe in it so much that it feels like we are heading in the right direction.
Yeah, I often, like, when people have asked about, like, oh, how are you doing now? I've described it as, like, we're in a river and the river feels completely right. It's the right direction, it's a really good flow, we're going in the right pace. And then sometimes in the middle of that river, there's just this big rock, and we're going, we bump into the rock, and we're like, wait, what happened? We were going, like, we were going at in a good pace. And those rocks are often the fears, the doubts, the challenges that come. And it doesn't mean because that rock's there that it's not the right river anymore. It's just part of the experience to go through that. So we've definitely had those moments, doubting. And we want to share that with you as well, of like, we often see people do these kind of projects and report on the outcome. We see the end result. But along the way, there's so many things that are very challenging, and we want to share that with you too, to give you the full perspective that we didn't just arrive here and we're like, wow, this is like the dream life and everything was good. It was like on the external part, everything was phenomenal. We couldn't have asked for anything better. And then on the inside was like this mixture of so many different feelings and emotions of like, is this it? And yeah, so it was a really good. It's a process. It's a step-by-step process, like Joris said.
So in the next weeks, months to come, we'll keep on sharing what's about to happen. We'll keep on sharing the stories of people that we'll meet, the insights that we'll have. Thank you for all joining us on this journey. And we definitely want to know through the comments, like, what are you thinking? Like, what questions do you have for us? What questions do you want us to answer about what we're doing? But also, like, what are some of the dreams that you want to start or that you've already started, and what have been some of the lessons that you're learning from them? That's, for us, it's so good to learn from all of you along the way.
Yes, so we're excited to keep you posted, and we will see you soon.
Yeah, keep subscribing and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye, friends.